Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Intuitive Life Coach. This is your host, Angie. And I just want to thank you for returning. If you are coming for the very first time to listen, if you are someone that has followed me for quite a while, thank you very much for being one of my listeners and just a part of my spiritual connection and family and energy on this earth. And I just want to ask if you could please leave a review after you listen to this episode. If you've listened to others in the past, it would be very helpful to get the word out about the podcast and to share it with more people. I don't think people realize how important reviews are on things. So if you listen to podcasts, if you read a book, if you do anything, just make sure you leave a review for that person because it really helps them. And one of the things I know I always look at are reviews to see, like, do I want this or do I want to do that? Do I want to listen to this? So just keep that in mind as you know, not even just for me, but for people that you enjoy or want to support or products or whatever it may be. I do have a really big, awesome, fun, amazing announcement. I have finished Composting the Ego, which is my second book. It is published. It is on Amazon. It will be available, or it is available in Kindle Select Unlimited. It is available as paperback, available as hardcover as well. I really wanted to do a hardcover for this book just because as I finished it, I just felt my energy is so aligned with the message, and it just seemed to be something I wanted to put a little bit more effort into to put out there in the world. And so there is that option to purchase the hardback book as well. Now, there are other places online that you can look for it. I believe if you look up like Goodreads or any other online bookstore, you could probably find it on there as well, because I did publish it in a couple different places. So I encourage you to go grab that. It is very good. I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. I have read, I had to read through it several times for my editing process, but I went ahead and I purchased my own book on Kindle and I read through it this week, and I could not stop reading. I'm like, oh my God, I wrote this. Anyways, it is good. I think that has really good insight in it. And I also just want to give a huge shout out to my editor, Cecilia, who is just a freaking universal godsend to me. She is one of the most marvelous people I've met. Actually, I haven't met her in person, but we have communicated on through email and through that kind of stuff. And she's just gifted woman that is intuitive, and she also has a lot of spiritual insight and has a spiritual practice. And so I cannot tell you how I found her other than the universe just led us together. And so each time, with me finishing my second book, we both are just in agreement that we're going to continue to work together as I write more books, and she's just going to continue to help bring my books to life. And sometimes my words get a little chaotic as I write because I get excited. And what really happens is I tune in, I meditate, and I tune into my spirit, and then I just write whatever I feel my spirit saying. And when you're intuitively writing and you're connected with your spirit guides, sometimes you write like they would talk, because they're like, it's really hard sometimes for a guide or a spirit to share things in like a human language, like or like I would say, I don't know, to find the words in our way of understanding it. So I remember I was writing one night, and there was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I heard, as I was writing, I heard my guides say, and the tiny humans. And I wrote it. And then after I stopped the sentence, I was like, wait, I can't write tiny humans. That's just not okay. And like, of course, I was cracking up because it was completely intuitively. It was my guides, and that was the way they view us, because they see us as spirit, and they're just like intrigued at like our humanity. And so when they say tiny humans, it completely makes sense to me. But thankfully my editor did change that to babies. So if you see the word babies in there, that was a edit from my beautiful editor. So anyways, I highly recommend just getting that book, because I think it will be very transformational for a lot of people. Okay, so let's dive into the intuitive message that I have to share in this episode. I have been thinking quite a bit about manifesting and life purpose and alignment and trusting the universe, and just kind of thinking about like my future and how I can step into like the abundant mindset that I know that deep within my spirit I hold. And when I say abundant, I don't mean like just money or financial. I mean abundant as in abundance in love, abundance in joy, abundance in alignment with my soul purpose, abundance in collective community that is on the same journey with me. Like, these are all things that are also considered abundance. So that alignment is when you're working on alignment with your highest self, it's not just to get material things in your life, it's to feel good. And of course, alongside that there is that desire to be successful and to be stable and to have abundance in your life, because nobody wants to struggle. But that's just one part of it. So for several weeks, I've been readjusting and realigning, and I've been doing this for a couple months actually, because I did several months ago, I found myself kind of in a rut when I was meditating. And it was becoming more of a chore than actually like reconnecting with myself. And so I had to really evaluate why am I doing this? And what's really interesting is I had challenged myself to meditate every single day for a whole year. And I have achieved that. I think I'm maybe 10 days out from an entire year, but I had been keeping track on one of my meditation apps of the days. And if I didn't use that app, it didn't record it. But so I made sure to use the app every single day to record that. And about 2 days ago, I don't know why, but it just completely slipped my mind to use the app. I know I meditated that day because I remember doing it, but I did it I think I did a silent meditation. I'm not sure. But what's really interesting is when I got onto the app the next morning, the days were down to one day. I'm not going to try to say that word. Anyways. And then so I'm building back up and I'm back on day 5 or something. But I took a moment in that and evaluated what it was that kept me in that loop of performance, and instead of reconnecting with our higher self. Because I think this can happen in any area of our life where we just get in routine, and then it just becomes a part of it has to be done this way. And I think this happens in so many areas that we don't even know it. And then we start to clash up against other people or things, and we struggle to trust the universe to guide us on the right path, because we're so used to doing it a certain way that if it's trying to bring in something new or show us a new way of doing it, we're going to fight against it, because we're going to say, well, I have this goal and I have this purpose and I have this desire and I have to do it this way. And that's going to block all of those things that you're really wanting to bring in your life. And it's not going to be able to, that door is just never going to open until you allow yourself to move and shift your mindset into other options of doing things. And so that got me thinking a lot about fairness, being the fairness in the world, which we hear about this all the time. Like it's, some things are not fair, and that's fair, and that, and there's a lot of comparison in society based on the fairness in, like societal standards as far as poverty versus like wealthy, and the people that are born in certain places don't have as much as people that maybe are born in other places. And so I started really thinking about where does fairness come into this? And what I came into, this is not something I think everybody needs to, you don't have to believe or the same I do or anything like that. But what I came into was, just like I was talking about before, abundance is not necessarily material things. Abundance is a mindset. Abundance is how you feel. And I remember when I was in Southeast Asia and I spent quite a bit of time in Thailand and Laos, there's a woman I've been thinking about so often because I'm going through this course. I'm still doing this psychic mediumship training right now, and there's a woman from the Amazon that is helping to guide us, and she reminds me of this woman I met in Laos that I absolutely adored. Her name is Thee, and I met her the very first night I was in Laos, and she made me a pineapple shake, and it was the most delicious thing I ever tasted. I still think about that. And she was just abundant in happiness. Like, she was so joyful every time I saw her. I went and saw her every single day that I was in Laos, and I was there for about 3 months. And so we became very close. And she just was so happy and abundant and excited every time I saw her. And it was just a joy to be around her. And she didn't speak she spoke a little bit of English, but not a lot. And so we had some language barriers, but we were able to communicate and become friends. And she was just a very smart, beautiful woman. And never once did I really hear her complaining or anything like that. But considering my life here in America and hers in Laos, if we were to compare abundance based on material, our possessions, then I am way more abundant than she is. But the joy and the peace that she had within her heart was way more abundant than what I had, especially at that time. I would say that I have a lot more now that I practice meditation daily, and I have transformed my mind quite a bit and done a lot of healing, but not at that time. It was a foreign thing to me to see abundant joy, which was funny because I actually was there as a missionary trying to convince people to accept Jesus so they could be happy. Oh, the things we can learn from other people if we just get out of our own way. Anyways, I've been thinking about her a lot. And so coming back into this fairness thing, so if we were to look at fairness based on that, there is this mentality that some people are unable to do things because of certain things in their life. But when we break this down into an energetic thing or a word, I guess, if we see the word fairness as an energy, and we break it up into little tiny particles, we begin to see that fairness is an illusion. It is something made up in the human ego that says one person can have something that another person can't. And what we have to come back into is that our spirit, who we are deep within our subconscious, the real truth of what we are inside of this ego body and mind is 100% radiant, abundant, beautiful, full of joy, and complete. There is no lack in our spirit. And so when we get in touch with this part of ourselves and into our highest self, we find our abundance. And in that place, we raise our vibration to attract the desires that we have in our life, whatever they may be. So fairness is actually, if we take it down to a spiritual level, to an energetic level, it's just part of the matrix. It's part of the illusion that we see on earth as a human. So how do we get past that? How do we get past this belief that things are not fair and one person has more opportunity than the other? Well, it comes down to our mind. It comes down to our beliefs. It comes down to our connection with ourselves and composting our ego and coming into the alignment in the frequency of who our true spirit is, and allowing our energy to enhance and the frequency to change and to connect back in with that universal abundance that we hold within. Because every single human has this ability. We have just lost track of it. I think with the global awakening that is happening right now, with the consciousness awakening and Christ coming back into Christ consciousness and coming back into understanding our minds and reconnecting with the truth of energy and things like that, I think that there is a lot more people waking up to this, but it requires a practice. And that's why, I signed up to do a Kundalini training because I have been intrigued by Kundalini for quite a while. And I had a very strange experience in my mid-20s where I felt an actual lightning bolt come down through my body. And I mean, it knocked me over. And I was inside of a building, and it's a long story. You can read my first book and see what that happened. But ever since that, and then when I started learning about the Kundalini, I have been really curious about that energy of like connecting our chakras and the energy that comes up through our spine, which in the Kundalini, that kind of is represented as a snake. Anyways, I think about that connection that we have with our energy, but also the connection we have with Mother Earth, with Father Sky, with one another, with the universe, with the planets, with the abundance of everything. And when we take a step back and we see that we are a part of all that, then there's no lack. There's nothing that we cannot accomplish. There's nothing that we cannot gain. There's nothing that we cannot do. Now, we all have our own giftings. We all have our own calling. We all have our own lane, really, that we're supposed to stay in or that we're meant to be on. But it doesn't mean that one person is more capable than another. It just all comes down to mindset. And a lot of the mindset that we have now is blocked because of stored trauma in the body. And when we start to release the trauma and we come back into our truth is when we begin to break down the walls that keep us in that mindset of like, this is not fair. Or I had this kind of upbringing, so therefore I cannot do kind of a thing. Or this happened because I can't, and so I can't. I mean, I'm going to tell you, 2.5 years ago, when I got fired and lost my dad 5 days later, and my whole life fell apart, and I call it my tower moment in my adult life, I probably would have said this isn't fair. But that was the one thing that put me on my path because I was determined to use it. I was determined to transform my life and turn it around. And sometimes you have to get that way. Sometimes you have to get kind of pissed off at the illusion of the matrix that you've been in, and take your power back and make the life that you desire. And that comes through reconnecting with your highest self and reprogramming your mind and aligning your energy with the universe and with who you really truly are deep within. So if you're in a place of struggling right now with not knowing if you can move forward or if there's more for you in this life, then take a moment and look at your mind. Like, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking in lack? Are you thinking negative things? Are you judging other people? Are you angry at people that have money? Do you think that you'll never have it? Do you think you can never do more than what you're doing? Like, what is it where is your mind? You know, it may feel foreign to start thinking like an abundant mindset and to think that you have things that maybe you don't. But the more you align your energy and you trust that the universe already has that ready for you, the more it can come to you. And that is how you manifest. So I am considering offering a mindset course. And I think I'm considering canceling my shadow work course, not necessarily canceling it, but transforming it into something else and making it more about a mindset transformation, into bringing abundant mindset into our lives. And so if you are interested in that and you want to reach out and let me know, that you are interested, and maybe what you would like to work on, I would love to hear if anybody hears this and wants to reach out and thinks they may be interested in that course. So I will let you know as I move forward with that and if it is complete and see if we can get this going. But in the meantime, go grab that book. Go get Composting the Ego. It's on Amazon or any other online store that you can buy a book. And just keep trusting that there are good things coming for you and they will come. All right. I wish you all the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love that there is. Namaste.